Hi there folks, welcome back to RRTV's coverage of the Australian Online Supercar Championship, and we're hoping we're going to have as good a battle as we did just see in the Porsches. And we're here for, I think it's round 17, second last round of the AOSC. What we're going to see here tonight is the Canadian tired 150, and your commentary team is myself tonight, Bernie and Daniel. Welcome back, Daniel. And here we are. The AOSC guys are out warming up as we speak.
Yeah, good evening, Bernie. Sorry, and to the viewers. We are ready to go here. Race 2 tonight. As we saw before, we just had the Porsches and awesome win there for Michael Healy, and more than likely has taken out that championship. But we now turn our attention to the V8s here tonight. Track conditions have changed a little bit now. Nice and sunny out there for the boys, and the lap times are really starting to get into a good zone here. Everyone starting to get into those 117s again, which we saw in the Porsches earlier on. And these guys are really going to have to get on with it. And I'm sure they're going to put on an awesome show around this little circuit.
Yeah, I'm sure they are, and you're dead right about the weather. The clouds are burned off. It's gone from 24 degrees Celsius up to 31 degrees Celsius or 88 degrees Fahrenheit, depending on where you are in the world. So that's definitely going to help the boys. But as far as the race goes tonight, folks, let's bring that up and have a look at it. So 38 laps tonight, we'll see them run. It's 150k, and it's not time certain. Incident limit, it's set to 25 with fast repairs at 1. Fuel burn tonight, 2.9 litres per lap. Fuel capacity, 80 to 80 litres, sorry. But the pit window to keep an eye on tonight, folks, is between 11 and 27. And do we see a random safety car come out for this event, Daniel?
From memory, we have one, I believe it does come out. So we'll still spice the action up, as you say. We do have a bit of a fuel window for these guys to have a play in. So we'll keep an eye on when they do come through and make their stops. But that safety car always does spice up the action, and we have seen in the past, can play a really big role in the outcomes of these races. So we'll see how that unfolds for us tonight. But I think we're in for a really good one.
Yeah, we certainly are. We've got 8 minutes of qualifying left here to run, and let's have a look at the top 10 standings in quali. We've got Brian Borg on screen at the moment. He's set the fastest time of 1:17.429. Michael Taliancic, or Michael Talenjak, I think it is in second. He's only 0.05 of a second off. Then we've got Jacob Knight in third, also 0.07 of a second off. Looking back to fourth is Cooper Webster, and I'll tell you what, these guys are so close. And then Bradley Ratu there in rounding out our top 5. But have a look at these gaps here, Daniel. They're absolutely, well, you could almost sneeze and go up about 3 positions, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. There's nothing between them at all. And just side note too, just based on what we saw in the Porsches as well, Cooper Webster, Thomas Hinz also backing up in this one. So they would have been set pretty comfortable having a good run in that Porsche, good track time that they may have missed out if it was, say, a different circuit. But that'll really help for them. And looking at where they're sitting on these leaderboards at the moment for the times, certainly right up there. So, but as you say, what do we look at? 0.6 of a second right now, covering our top 10 cars around the circuit. There's absolutely nothing in that at all.
Yeah, we just saw there Jacob Knight there for FRA Motorsport. He's jumped up to third. So that's how quickly they move around here, folks. He wasn't even in the top 5 back there. But we've also got Marlon McMullen, and he's sitting in 7th behind Jamie McKnight. Now, it's looking good for Jamie. When he qualifies well, he generally, he does really well, and he's a hard driver to not only drive against, but he's also, he knows when to make those moves. So we'll keep an eye on him tonight, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. As far as racecraft has come on, Jamie's certainly getting right up there now. Jacob Knight as well, doing an amazing job in this car. And just looking at where our current points championship leaders are sitting in the field right now on the times. We've got Marlon McMullen leading the championship, currently down in 8th position. Cooper Webster sitting second right now. He's up in third there. Only a couple of tenths between those two right now. Thomas Hin's still up with these guys as well, and only just fractionally ahead of actually set the same time as Marlon McMullen. So the top three contenders right now, right up there. One guy I'm not seeing on the board yet is Kyle Stokes. So Kyle potentially will drop down a couple of positions, if I'm not mistaken there. So all in all, our top 5 guys, well, 4 out of the top 5 anyway, are right up inside that top 10 right now.
Yeah, and if we have a look at the overall driver points, folks, let's bring that up. So Marlon McMullen, he's leading coming into this on 3,230 points. Second is Thomas Hinds on 2,800 points. Third, Cooper Webster, only 2,765 points. So he's really in with the shot to take second. Jamie McKnight, he's off the pace there as far as points go by about 600. So he's in fourth, and rounding out your top 5 is Brian Borg on 2,160. Now, as far as overall driver points go, folks, we have the big one next week, and that's the Bathurst 650 retro round, and that will end the AOSC for this season. So we'll definitely be looking forward to that. But what does wrap up tonight, of course, is a sprint championship, and this is how it looks at the moment. Extremely close. Marlon McMullen leading 2,245 points, but only 40 points behind him is Cooper Webster, his teammate. So they'll be duking it out tonight, and we'll see what Cooper can bring. He's on 2,205 points. Thomas Hinds, he's sitting in third, and no doubt he'll be looking forward because he looks fairly safe there in third on 2,080 points. Brian Borg fourth for Opticoat Laser Racing, 1,640 points, and rounding out your top 5 is Kyle Stokes for FRA Motorsport on 1,467 points.
Yeah, so that top couple are still pretty well tied together, and as you say, Cooper Webster and Marlon McMullen, same team, no team orders on show here, and it's good to see them still battling so hard for the remaining positions in that championship. But as you say, next week's the big one. We go to Bathurst, 650k race, and that's a hell of a way to finish off a championship like this.
It certainly is, and the guys put a lot of work into their paint schemes. I've already seen the one there for Redback Racing. They leaked that to me the other day. I'm not sure why. I must have some sort of inside knowledge there. But also Sean Thompson was saying they've got a new livery reveal, and they're not running it here tonight, but after this race you'll be able to see it on our Facebook page. I'll definitely share it, or you can go straight to Velocity Sim Racing's Facebook page and watch it there. And I tell you what, these guys are turning around awesome videos now. We first saw it in the paint schemes, but now they're doing a lot of work on these paint scheme launches.
Yeah, absolutely. And the guys over at Velocity Sim Racing, Robert is doing an awesome job, does a lot of GT, and we see him in the V8s as well. His video skills certainly gone up in leaps and bounds. And for anyone who wants to watch a good bit of streaming action, Rob Harris on YouTube there does put up pretty much every race I think he does now. So jump on board, check him out, and awesome sort of insights to see what these guys do go through.
Yeah, it's absolutely great as the internet here is improving and more people can get onto the NBN. We're seeing a lot more streaming going on, which is just fantastic for the esport. And, it just allows people to see exactly what the drivers are doing. As you said, they get their own following, they can promote their own sponsors, and it's all good. It's great.
Yeah, absolutely, and it only just goes from strength to strength, and it's just awesome to see the time and effort that the guys do put in and keep going with it. We've got Thomas Hinds on screen now, still sitting down in 5th. Looks to be on a bit of a flyer. Actually, might be an outlap. The times are well off the pace at the moment, but he's good to see him jump and have a quick turnaround just from what he did in the Porsches there. Looking at the lap times overall, as you say, we've still got Brian Borg out front, Mokhtelian sitting in second, less than a hundredth of a second behind him. Jacob Knight, throw a blanket over those top 3, nothing in them. Cooper Webster again right behind. Thomas, these guys are so close together. Yeah, like I say, you catch one small break somewhere, and that lap time, go on by the wayside.
I'll tell you what, I'm really impressed with FRA. They've come on leaps and bounds this season, and the underscore there, as you can see, Jacob Knight at the moment third fastest in quali, and these boys are getting very, very competitive, and it's great to see such a young team up at the pointy end.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's just going past his teammate there, Kyle Stokes, and those guys, as you say, 2 cars up inside the top 10. Really good to see from them, and working together as well, optimising what they can in the draft to get their cars right at the pointy end.
Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on both of those guys as this race unfolds. I'm just having a look, folks. We've got a massive turnout again tonight. 31 V8 Supercar drivers have turned up to race here, so another fantastic turnout, and it's going to be good. No doubt they're all looking forward to next week, but they won't even be thinking about that because quali's just ended and we're about to go racing here.
Yep, and we'll just jump through. We'll keep a quick eye, just see who's still on a hot lap here. Looks like Kyle Stokes getting an awesome draft from Jacob just in front of him, so we'll see where these guys peel off and see what time Kyle can set here. But let's have a quick look. I'm not sure if we've got anyone else out. I think Marlon might still get one through, Adam Wybert and a couple of others. So I think Kyle's probably the closest one to finishing his lap right now.
There's a lot of smoke up here on the back straight, but that won't affect these guys. It'll be interesting to see if Jacob now steps aside, gives his partner the slingshot. He does, and that allows Kyle to get through there without any wash from the car in front of him. He's absolutely pushing it. Scott Slide, that's going to end it, but what a shame. He was looking really good. Into the wall he goes.
Well, he really held that one around the outside there, so it'll be a shame for him there. Got a couple of the Penrite cars coming through, and I think that might have been Greg Sharp still on a lap as well. So we might duck through the grid now and just let everyone know where their drivers have ended up for the start of this race.
Yeah, definitely. And having a look at the grid, folks, Brian Borg, he'll start on pole position on the front row. His time of 1:17.429. He's got Michael Tallenjack next to him in second. Second row tonight, Jacob Knight will start out of third, Cooper Webster fourth out of the third row. Fifth, Thomas Hinds, Bradley Ratu. Moving back to the fourth row, we have Jamie McKnight, and he's going to start next to Marlon McMullen. Then out of the fifth row is Kyle Stokes in ninth, Adam Wyborn 10th. Out of 11th, Craig Jones, and Stephen Varga, he's going to start out of 12th.
Matt Muggleton will be starting out of 13th with Greg Sharp alongside him in 14th. Grant Caines from 15th tonight with Mitchell Bales in 16th. Henry King probably further down than we'd like to see from Henry there, starting out of 17th with Shane Rayner just alongside him in 18th. Jaden Borg and Daniel Stevens will be starting in 19th and 20th respectively. David Kidwan down in 21st. Alongside him is Brenton O'Brien in 22nd. Scott Clark having a run tonight in 23rd with Shane Evans alongside him in 24th. Scott O'Keefe out of 25th. Jonathan Ben out of 26th. Nick Heusler down in 27th along with Nathan Tregarthen in 28th. Tony Gaffer start from 29th with Tyson McAvoy out of 30th and Brett Shelby Woods out of 31st tonight.
Yeah, and I'm sorry about that, folks. We missed one overlay there. I got a bit excited and clicked the button too many times, but anyway, it happens. Just waiting for the guys to line up. Interesting, the cars are still suffering from jump. I just wish iRacing would fix the darn thing.
Yeah, it's pretty disappointing to see. It was something they did miss off the release notes when they launched through the update that came out last week through week 13, and it is a shame. It doesn't make the cars look the best, especially when you see them hopping. It's like we're seeing now the first couple of rows there bouncing up and down.
Yeah, exactly right. And I've looked at the other broadcasts. They seem to be suffering the same problem as us. So I don't think it's a computer setting. I definitely think it's an iRacing thing. Just see there, Brian Borg now. He's joining the grid, and we're about to go racing here, guys. We're under starters orders. Revs will be rising here for round 17 of the Canadian tie at 150. Here we go. Nice clean start, but hold your breath as we come into the first couple of turns.
Yeah, it looks like everyone managed to get away pretty well here. Still got a bit of two-wide action pretty much from most of this field, which I think we'll start seeing this opening lap here. Looks like everyone's getting through rather well. There's a little bit of a slide on one of the cars just behind Jacob there that I noticed. I think that was Bradley Radu with it a bit sideways through turn 2, managed to retain that one. And these guys have had a really good start now.
Yeah, it's a nice clean start as we see them come into turn 3. They're one of the Penrite cars up the back. They're running a little bit wide, but looking up the front at the moment, Brian Borg is leading this race. Michael Hallenjack is in second. Third, Cooper Webster. Keep an eye on Cooper. And fourth is Jacob Knight at the moment. So Jacob dropped one position. Rounding out your top 5 is Bradley Ratu.
Yeah, just looking as this snake unwinds its way up the Murray Straight there. Looks like everyone's down in single file. Haven't had any issues, which is awesome to see. We've had a few lead changes, or a few positional changes along the way further down the field, which is nice on an opening lap. But everyone seemed to get through rather clean. Yeah,
we just saw one of the MFR boys there. That is Jonathan Ben get into the back of one of the cars there, but he's managed to keep it on the grass as we complete lap 1. Tell you what, Cooper Webster now, he's in a different livery than we're used to seeing him in, but it hasn't hampered his driving one bit because he's starting to rat-a-tat-tat on the back of his teammate.
Yeah, it's nice to see a bit of a change of livery there, kind of going back to the older design that this team used to run, but really applying the pressure well on Montelianch just in front of him. And Brian Borg's done a great job, got an awesome jump, managed to retain that lead, and if anything, opened it up slightly, half a second now over Michael in second. And this shot right here gives you a really good impression of what these guys have to do to get through Moss Corner 5A and 5B. And when you're following someone so closely like Cooper, it's very easy to lock a brake and potentially have a crash along this one.
Yeah, good to see the wheel work there, and it'll be interesting to see here as far as points go whether Cooper gets the multi-21 order to go past. I doubt it, because that's not the way they race at Performance Sim Sport.
No, I don't think we'll see any of the old multi-21s getting called. Really, everyone who knows about the old Red Bull sagas, that was an interesting one. I did see Grant Caines actually has run off the circuit. He's come down for a stop already, so not a great start for him. We'll see where he unfolds. We're currently down in 25th, but looking at our leaders here, Brian Borg's dropped a few spots down into 6th position now, so not sure what's happened there, but that has promoted Montelianch and Cooper Webster up to the lead of this race, I believe.
I'm just having a look now. No, Brian's still leading the race with Taliancic in second, third, so they haven't swapped there at the moment. And 36 laps remaining here with just having a look further back. I was trying to work out what's happened to Grant. We might go back and have a very quick look at that replay and just see if we can work this out for the viewers. So we can see Grant on screen at the moment, going wide, fired it off very wide. Does he keep it off the tyres? No, he does not. But that's the first of them, because he does have another off track a bit further down. And that's it, into the wall. That's the second one.
Yeah, he won't be happy with that re-entry. That's a little disappointing there, but unfortunately may not have got that fast repair turned on in time. And as we see now, 2 minutes in the pit lane, that's a long time to be sat still. So we'll have to keep an eye to see whether anyone else drops out. He may gain a few spots moving forward that way, but battle for the front as Montelianch is now getting caught up. Brian Borg still doing an awesome job there, leading this race here. Michael Taliancic is just behind him. Cooper Webster still sitting pretty in third, and Jacob Knight doing a good job. Dropped one spot, still sits in fourth though, and managed to hold off Bradley Radu and Marlon behind him as well.
Yeah, Marlon is up 2 positions from where he started. He's now got past his teammate Jamie McKnight, and he's also got past Thomas Hinds here. So he's on the march, but now Jamie is all over the back of Thomas, and he'll be trying to make a move. I thought we were going to see him go around the outside like we saw on the PCCA Michael Healy move, but I don't think we're going to see that move again for a while, because that was gutsy in that last race.
Yeah, it certainly was. I wouldn't be surprised if we maybe see it later on. Or depending on how these guys play out their strategy, if we get some guys maybe on fresher tyres right at the end of the race, we might see one sneak it around the outside. But it's a bold move to be able to do it. You've got to have a lot of trust in the guy that you're racing with, that you don't both run wide and take each other out as a result of that.
Yeah, and the other thing that's interesting, jumping on board here with Jamie, you can just see that technique and the way they're driving these cars compared to the Porsches. Similar in a way, but a lot more cautious, which you'd expect.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, two completely different driving styles required for both of these cars. The V8 engine right up front, a lot more understeer than what you'd be used to with the Porsche, whereas being in the back, it's more prone to wanting to step out sideways on you. So we're seeing here, especially watching how Jamie's taking these corners, very shallow entries, trying to keep that nose pinned in on the corner there and just keep feathering that throttle to get the exit right. And pretty interesting to watch how these guys all attack it. Everyone's got a slightly different line. This final corner through turn 8 here, there's about 4 or 5 different lines that these drivers can take. So maybe towards the end, that'll really start to come into effect, and we'll see what they can do.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, one person that doesn't seem to mind the transition at all is Cooper Webster. He was very racy in the last one, wasn't he? And he's just picked up the V8 as if he hasn't stepped out of it for the last race, and he's straight on the pace and going forwards.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's credit to these guys who can jump between so many different cars and be quick in the same respect. Cooper Webster doing an awesome job from going from the Porsche to these. We see it week in, week out. Thomas Hinz from the NASCAR to the Porsches to the V8s. I don't think there's anything that guy can't drive. Stick 4 wheels and a cable or something, he'll have a go. But there is contact here now, turn 5B with was that Brian Borg and Michael Taliancic. They both got underway, but that will let Cooper Webster slide through. Maybe duck back once this resettles, and just check this out on the replay. Yeah,
ducking right back now. Just have a look at this, because Michael got into the back of Brian there, turned him around. They both gathered it up, but of course that shuffles. Cooper Webster has a grin from ear to ear at the moment as he snaps up that position. We'll keep an eye on it as they go up the back straight here, because we've got Brian Borg recovering nicely. Jacob Knight going on the outside here, gutsy move. Not sure if he's going to pull this off. No, he doesn't. He tucks back in, and that's your top 3 as they stand.
Yeah, I'm just having a rewatch back on that little incident there with Brian, and I think he actually ran it a little hot into 5A there and had to check up a bit more than probably Michael expected, and that's where that front to rear contact took effect. But as I say, good recovery from Brian's, managed to get that car slotted back up into second place. Now he'll set charge on to Cooper Webster again, but that's brought the guys that were a bit further down right back into contention now. We've got Jacob Knight's back into it. Bradley Ruddy's up there. Michael Taliancic's obviously dropped a couple, but it's brought McMullen, Hinz, McKnight, Wyborn right back up into this fight now. Yeah,
and that Moss corner there, really, really tricky. That Michael would have had his car absolutely on the limit as he's under brakes with the right suspension fully loaded, and he wouldn't have been able to slow that car down anymore without looping it himself. So that's why that was contact happened, if any of the viewers are new to V8 supercars.
Yeah, that's right. And similar to what we saw in the Porsches, with Matt Morris, once you get into those corners, you're pretty well committed. You don't have a lot of leeway, unlike the downforce cars, your prototypes, your Formula 1s, your Indy cars and the like. So these guys pretty much have these cars on the limit the whole way through, and you get one minor mistake in front of you, it's very hard to make a change. But looks like things are getting settled back down. That snake's starting to reform again, and Brian Borg's actually got himself under a fair bit of pressure now. Jacob Knight's really closed that gap down on him, and we'll just have to keep an eye on it. Knight's really consistent, knows where to make the most out of these cars, and I wouldn't be surprised if he plays this right. We'll obviously see him jump in position pretty soon too.
Yeah, and remember, folks, they don't only make positions on the track, the strategy is going to come into play, because they will have to make a pit stop, and a few of the guys already have done that. Daniel Stevens and Jonathan Ben both came in with a 10.4 and a 10.3 stop, and that clears them for when the random safety car comes out. But we've seen it before, haven't we? Depending when it does come out, it can benefit a lot of drivers, and it can also punish a lot of drivers. So that always brings a twist in the tail to these races and can often change the complexion.
Yeah, absolutely. It certainly makes it very interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if we expect to see a lot of guys try and run this as long as possible, save those fresh tyres for the end. It'll be someone pretty bold out there who wants to come and pit so early on and move up this field. But it certainly does make it interesting to see what these guys are prepared to do moving forward. And, just having a bit of a look just through the field, just to see some of the moves and movers and shakers so far. Brett O'Brien and Scott Clark, two guys, both up 7 positions since the start of this race. So coming on pretty strong. Bretton's finding himself closing up on Henry King in front of him, but Scott Clark got a miracle at David Kidmon right behind him.
Yeah, and David's had something go wrong with his car. He's missing the front bonnet on that MFR car, as now we just saw there Scott get Moss Corner all wrong there, and he's potentially going to lose that position as they go too wide up the back straight. Yeah,
definitely. It was looks like he just got in a little bit hot there for Scott. Good to see David chuck it up the inside. He's got a fair bit of damage, so I'm not entirely sure where that's come from, but obviously look for that to be repaired once they do take that quick repair through their stop. But not too bad. Should get this position done though pretty easily over Scott. There is a car entering pit road though. I'll be interested to see who that was, and that potentially could be the start of our pit stop windows, as that's Matt Muggleton. Bit of front and rear contact on that car as well, so look for a quick repair and he should be out back underway pretty soon.
Yeah, and that's not going to hurt him too much, because he can count that as his stop if he throws the fuel in. We'll see what he does. And what's he doing? Just keeping an eye on the timer. 12.3 seconds. Greg Sharp in the number 747 also comes in and does an 11.9 second stop. So the guys are starting to think about strategy. But I guess if you're up front here, as you were saying, they'll probably opt to run as deep as they can into this stint.
Yeah, absolutely. I would expect these guys further down the field who want to make their way up should definitely come in, do this quick stop, get it over and done with, and press on from there. Being the kind of lap it is, you're not risking going a lap down at this point, so not a bad way to go. But still looking at what the lap times are like now, looks like everyone's settled into a pretty even mid to high 18 now. We've got a couple of guys dropping in back into the 19s, so the race pace has started to settle down a bit more. Thomas Hin's coming in for a stop as well, and really starting to unfold. Yeah,
Thomas has had an off track here, and he's dropped down to 14th before he come in the pits. We're just going to have a look at this replay. It all come undone for him up the top here. I think he ran wide, which he did, and at that point he lost momentum and he decided to bring it straight in to use that pit strategy.
Yeah, it was awesome hold there. Managed to keep the nose pointed pretty well in the direction he wanted, so didn't lose that back end, which was good to see. And now he's had that stop, should be right to go. Scott Clark's another one that's come down for his stop there. Has dropped down quite a few places, down 7 spots from where he first started.
Yeah, that car looks pretty damaged to me when we saw it. There's a lot of smoke, and this explains it. That's turn 2, heavily into the wall there, and he's limped it back, of course, but front and rear damage on that car for sure.
Yeah, he'll, I'd say, given he didn't drive that home too, he'll have a tow included in that, so that stop's not going to be just a simple quick repair and go, unfortunately for him. But we'll just jump back up the front. We'll take a quick count of where the drivers are for that top 10, and we've got Cooper Webster out front, up 3 spots from his starting position, leading the way. Brian Borg just behind him in second. Jacob Knight sitting comfortable in third right now. Bradley Radu just behind in fourth position with Marlon Mullen right alongside him. Michael Talianchis dropped back 4 spots after his earlier contact with Brian there, sitting in 6th. Jamie McKnight in 7th. Adam Wyburn in 8th tonight. Greg Jones, good to see him jumping up in ninth in that Penrite car. And who have we got? Kyle Stokes sitting in 10th at the moment as well. So pretty good top 10, quite a bit of variety as far as teams are concerned as well.
Yeah, exactly right. And one of the viewers asked when is the get home, as in pit window opens at lap 11, closes at lap 27, and so they can pretty much get home from lap 11. But as we see now, Cooper Webster coming in. But I don't think that really counts much, does it? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but they start with, they've got 80 litres limit, haven't they?
Yeah, exactly. And I'll just had a word through the chat too. A couple of things wrong. Craig Jones, Team CMR. I called that one wrong on the Penrite run, so sorry to Craig. But we're also hearing word too that Thomas might have actually got punted, which saw him go off the track as well. So we'll have to duck back maybe a bit later on. We'll see if we can find reasons to what happened there. But that's unfortunate there for Tom.
Yeah, just having a look back at here to see if we can find where that may have occurred. I don't have anything on my telemetry, but he did, coming into that final corner there, side by side, he did have contact with the MFR car, and that's what made him run wide. He gathered it up and went straight into the pits. So maybe that's what they're talking about. We've also got down here Shane Evans at the moment, 15th, Jaden Borg 16th. These two are having a nice battle, and I love the Shell Power livery, but of course if you look closely it's not really, is it? It's the Shane Evans Power.
It's a good take on it. It works quite well there, so good on Shane for the change there. You wouldn't have picked it if you're just glancing at the car. Obviously it does stand out as a Shell livery there, so nice to see a bit of fun with that one.
Yeah, and on the back of it I think he's got more fun as we have a look if Jaden will do us the honours, close in. Yeah, it says Shell Chief I think on the back. Or the Chief, because he calls himself the Chief, as we see now Jaden appealing into the pits. This gives you a bit of an idea of pit entry, folks. It's a pretty tight entry, but it's not too bad.
No, it's not too bad at all. You've got to be careful, obviously, coming in with the speed that you can do. So that's not too bad. We've also had a change up front. Cooper Webster's come in for his stop now. We've had a couple of others come through the lane as well, like Brian Borg back up the pointy end with Jacob Knight, Bradley Radu just behind him as well. So a few guys now starting to come in, take those early stops and really set themselves up for the final run home. 25 laps to go now.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see if any of these guys now decide to take to the pits to try to cover off Cooper. But at the moment, Bradley's got his ears full, of the sound of Marlon McMullen. Marlon's having an awesome run, isn't he? He's up to 4th. And he started in 8th position.
Yeah, very solid run. Obviously, probably helped out with a few of the issues earlier on with Michael and Brian there. So good to see him fight his way back through. You know, very consistent driver. Kyle Stokes looks like he's just jumped in for his stop in the 888 as well. But Marlon's pretty much showing the drive of a champion. Currently leading the way, working his way back up through the field. Pretty cool, calm and collected, and setting himself up for a repeat championship win.
Yeah, definitely. He always looks at the big picture and runs, and is pretty much unflappable. So he'll be looking at trying to take that championship once again next week. But having a look at these pit stops, Cooper Webster 15.5 seconds, and compared to others, the others are in the high 11s. So that could give Brian a little bit of an opportunity there to gain spots, or gain a gap, I should say, in the pits. But at the moment, he's got Jacob Knight all over the back of him. Jacob having a great run here and wants to lead this race.
Yeah, and if there's anyone who could probably put a move on Brian at the moment, it'd certainly be Jacob. You know, driving very consistently. We've seen it pretty much all season long in that DuPont entry. He's done a fantastic job there. So hats off to him. Bradley Radu, probably a bit of star. We don't see him very often in these cars or in this championship, to be honest. So the performance he's putting on tonight is fantastic. But I'm still very surprised to see that Cooper came in as early as he did. I would have expected, based on the way this race is playing out, run it as long as possible. Maybe look to getting up to the back of the lap traffic, come in for those fresh tyres, because 23 laps to go at the end of this race. Those tyres are certainly going to be hurting on that car.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to go back to replay here, folks, because Scott O'Keefe looks like he is in the pit lane, and by the looks of it, he's had a bit of an off here. Just have a look at what's happened. He's run it off on turn 2. Nothing really major there, and he's just got out of the car.
Yeah, he has disconnected from the server as well, so that's a bit of a weird one. Didn't look like it was a result of anything mechanical or spin-related, touch on the grass or anything like that. Just simply run it wide and called it a night. So a bit disappointing there for Scott, but if he jumps into the broadcast later on to check it out on YouTube, love to hear what's unfolded there for him.
Yeah, definitely. As we see now, Brian Borg coming in to serve his pit window. We'll keep an eye now on where he comes out in regards to Cooper Webster. Cooper's down here in 15th position, and basically he's now coming up to the back straight, the end of the back straight now, and we'll keep an eye on him and Brian. Brian's in taking service, as we can see. He's in probably one of the best pit stops there, as now Cooper Webster's coming across the start-finish line. It's going to be close. What's Brian done? He's still sitting in pit lane, and Cooper's going to retake this lead quite easily.
Yeah, Cooper got the jump pretty well on that one. Looking at the stop time, Brian Borg in there for 13 seconds. Came in very hot as we saw him on entry with it a bit crossed up before the cones there, but got through pretty well unscathed. Cooper Webster's put a pass on one of the Stealth Simforce cars there. I'm not sure who that was that he's just got around. I think it was Greg Sharp, so not too bad, but we'll have to keep an eye now on these leading cars to see when they look to make their stops. Jacob Knight, good to see him up the pointy end leading the way, but Marlon has dropped into third. Michael Taliancic on the recovery after that early contact with Brian Borg, currently sitting down in fourth.
Here we go. McKnight, Ratu and McMullen all in at the same time, and they got a fairly decent entry there. Marlon probably would have wanted to go in a bit hotter than he did, but we'll see how he comes out. I don't think they're going to come out in front of Cooper, because Cooper's already into the S's now in lap 21, so he should have this lead comfortably, but it'll be interesting to see if any of them can jump Borg as he's coming on the finish straight now.
Yeah, Cooper doing very good lap times. The last few times by at least between 3 to 4 seconds a lap quicker than what we'd seen earlier. I did notice Marlon McMullen might have got a glance on the wall as he came in, but he has actually managed to jump Bradley Ratu by the looks as well. So that stop was a little bit quicker, I believe. So good job there. Was that 3 seconds quicker? So good jump on them. But starting to get quite a lot of guys now making their way in. Who else? We got Shane Evans coming back in. I saw him stop earlier on. And that'll promote Michael Taliancic back to the lead of the race. Jamie McKnight sitting up in second now, and Stephen Varga will be up in third.
As we see now, Michael and Jamie both coming in to react. They don't want to get caught out if a safety car comes out. Both lock up as they enter. Stephen Varga, he's going to lead a lap here as well as he goes through to lead that lap. So that's good for him. But based on this pace, and this is where it's interesting, like Cooper, I know I've only got the number of when the time they're in the box, but he had one of the slowest times out of all of them, and he still got that lead. So he must have, he's got great pace, that's obvious, but he also must have had great pit exit and pit entry to capitalise on that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think where he fed back into this race as well, he didn't have a lot of cars around him, as we see there. Michael Taliancic dropping in behind Brian Moore, has those green tyres. They'll need to come back in. But Cooper filtered out to a really nice spot. I don't think he really had much around him, so his pace was able to be a lot faster. And as a result of that, now we're really starting to see that gap extend and open up.
And have a look at how close this was on exit. They were pretty much side by side, weren't they? And Brian just got the pass as they got to the apex there. But boy, oh boy, that was close.
Yeah, it was also a bit of a wild there for wild ride for Michael as well. He caught that inside curb and threw the car around a bit. So lucky not to have looped on the cold tyres there. And probably as a result did fall a little bit further back down. But now that we've seen pretty much all our top 10 come through the lane, we've still got Stephen Varga up in first, Cooper Webster sitting in second, Brian Borgs up to third, Michael Taliancic back in fourth, Jacob Knight's now fifth, Jamie McKnight in sixth, Mullen in seventh, and Bradley Ratty down eighth, Adam Whiteborn ninth, and Greg Sharp in 10th. So looking at where they're sitting, if anything, maybe Marlon's lost a couple of positions as opposed to what Jamie and Jacob were doing there, but still feeding out in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, and for the fans of Craig Jones, Team CMR, he's sitting in 11th at the moment. He's having a great battle with Greg Sharp just ahead of him. He's showing his nose here. He wants to make this move. It's what's Greg going to do? Is he going to... Yeah, he's going wide there. Doesn't have much of an option as they have a bit of netcode touch. Cole Stokes is going to benefit out of this as well, as he also can smell an opportunity.
Yeah, Greg had to be careful there. Nearly closed that door pretty hard on Craig. So lucky both guys were sort of aware, gave each other enough room, and just sort of a bit of a hit check from from Craig as they came out. But Kyle probably just a little unfortunate there not to be able to capitalise and take another position.
Yeah, as we're having a look here, David Kinmond, he's got his mirrors full of Shane Rayner at the moment. Shane's a long way down in the field. I would have expected to see him higher than where he is down there in 20th position. But he did have a very slow stop, 17.6 seconds.
Yeah, not probably where he wants to be. Traditionally we've seen him run these cars quite a lot, and we know he's pretty comfortable in them. So not probably where he wants to be tonight. We have also had Steve Varga come down the pit lane as well. So that's pretty much our whole top 10 have now done their stops. So they're well set for the final stint once that safety car does come through. But yeah, not too sure what's happened with Shane. Hopefully it's just getting back into the rhythm of things and maybe not quite got that car where he wants it after the updates that iRacing released as far as track's concerned.
Yeah, and the Chief down here, he's having a battle with Nick Hausler for 24th and 25th. And that's Shane Evans, of course, and trying to capitalise on that. But I'll tell you what, looking up front, oh, here we go, we're under yellow. Here's this random safety car. Tony Gaffer, he's the only one that has not pitted, would you believe, out of all of them. So he decided to go deep. Now it's going to be interesting. Is this going to work for him? He's mid-pack. I don't think it's going to affect him too much.
No, he will probably drop to the end of the line once the guys do come in for their stop, but he will have the freshest tyres pretty much of everyone out there. I think probably the smart one who came in at the right time, Stephen Varga, he came in a lap before that caution, so must have felt the ears burning that they were coming out with the safety car, got it in just in the nick of time there. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see now with the tyre strategies and how they play out, how Cooper can actually hold off Brian Borg. 4-lap difference in tyres, and even 6 laps different to Michael Taliancic. So that's going to be very interesting moving forward.
Yeah, if you're wondering why all the cars are gone white, folks, we're trying to fix up Craig Jones's paint job that hasn't loaded properly, so they'll all get their nice new skins in a moment. But for those new to the AOSC, the way this works, folks, is they pretty much are under yellow for 3 laps. The first lap is everyone forming up, and then pretty much once they're formed up, the pit lane will open at the end of this lap. At the end of lap 2, we are back racing. So the guys have to think on their feet here and work out whether they're going to pit or whether they're going to stay out. Now, Daniel, the question is with Cooper. He was the first of the stoppers, so the question is whether he can come home or not. He did have a fairly long stop, so he may be able to make it, but I guess we'd find out. You probably wouldn't want to pit now, though, if you're right up the front, would you?
No, well, looking at where we're at with all our stoppers, the only car I'm seeing not to have come through, I believe, is Greg Sharp. So we'll see where he folds out, or if my telemetry catches up where he's currently sitting. But pretty much the top half of our field have all stopped. So if anything, it's probably Cooper's race here to lose. He does get the control of the field on that final lap. So we'll have to keep an eye on where he wants to jump and see whether Brian's awake to it and can stick right on the gearbox and go with him.
Yeah, just having a look here. A few guys are trying the old, let's do the NASCAR bluff, but no one's going to bite. We see Brenton O'Brien also thinking about it. One of the cars is coming in, and well, a few of them are coming in now. I'm trying to work that out. That's who are they? Matt Muggleton's back in. Looks like we've also got Daniel Stevens coming through. David Kinmon's back in, and Jaden Borg pitting. Jonathan Benz comes through, as well as Tyson McAvoy stays out.
Yeah, so I think that'll probably be the last of our cars now that haven't stopped for the race. Not really going to drop off too far, obviously. They will fall to the back of the field, but it's so compressed, and we're going to have 15 laps here to go to the end of this race. They're pretty well in it now. A couple of guys that might be cautious, they're going to have to keep an eye on a bit further down. Mitchell Bales, 10 laps on those tyres already. Nathan Tregarthen, 12 laps. So there's a few guys with some pretty tired tyres in this pack, and hopefully those guys now, after those stops, should be able to jump them pretty comfortably.
Yeah, we'll see how they go, because if your tyres start getting tired at this point, you've got a long run home, haven't you?
Yeah, definitely. But, if anything, having a bit of a cool down like that should help the tyres. The guys will just go into a bit of a saving mode. So if anyone is tight on fuel, and we expect that the likes of Michael Taliancic potentially could be, given his stop was so low, or even Cooper, with where he came in, they'll now be able to sort of get themselves back into that window and just manage it from here. It looks like Cooper's just starting to slow this field down a bit as the pace car starts to pull away a bit.
Yeah, and while they're coming up the back straight here, a bit of an update, folks. Matt Muggleton did a very long stop, his second stop, and he's down in 27th. The car's retiring tonight. Scott O'Keefe in the 222 is the latest retirement. We also lost Scott Clark in the 27, Grant Caines in the 069, and Brett Selby Wood did not make the start. So we've had a few retirements. We've still got 27 runners here, but safety car will come in. Cooper will have control of this race. Single file restart, folks, so it should hopefully be a nice clean one, as now Cooper puts the foot down and away he goes. Brian Ball goes with him. Michael Taliancic is a little bit slower, but he's got Jacob Knight on the back of him, followed by Jamie McKnight coming through in front of Marlon McMullen in 6th. 7th is Bradley Ratu, probably one of the bigger losers in the pit strategy there. He dropped a number of positions, as we see now. Adam Wyborn and Craig Jones coming through as well.
Yeah, if anything, might have been a little unfortunate there for Bradley and where he filtered back out, but these guys have got back underway pretty comfortably. Looks like Craig Jones getting up the inside there, who was Adam Wyburn that he's just squeezed past. So see whether Adam's got anything to defend with as they go up through 5A, and I think he'll let this one go. But we'll have to give it a lap now just for these tyre pressures to come back up. Keep an eye if anyone goes off through 5A. It looks like they got through, but yeah, give it a lap. The tyre pressures will come back into play, and we should be good to go again.
Yeah, and Adam there, when he was side by side with Craig there, he got pretty loose coming over the hill there and gathered it back up. That's how Craig got past, but a gutsy move there by Craig Jones. Unfortunately, we've tried refreshing the paints and his isn't coming up, but we've done everything we can, so we're not going to do it again. We'll just continue calling this race.
Yeah, it looks like Cooper's managed to get a good little jump. That gap now, first to second's opened up just under a second now. Michael Taliancic setting a really good lap last time by his car through a 118.223, so quickest guy around by about 2/10 over everyone else.
Yeah, and have a look at Performance Sim Sports if we bring them up at the moment. Extremely dominant, aren't they? Like, you've got the leader, Cooper Webster, he's leading the charge for their team. Then his teammate, Michael Taliancic, there in 3rd position. As we go down, we've got Jamie McKnight in 4th with Marlon McMullen in 5th. I'm not sure if there's any more of them, but 4 cars in the top 6. That's pretty dominant.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they've found something they like in these cars, and certainly serving them well. And we've seen all season long these guys have been very strong, very consistent. And if you know, with the exception of a few races, pretty much the dominant team out here so far. So everything they're doing seems to be playing into their hands well. You know, Marlon's still sitting pretty comfortable in 6th at the moment, up 2 spots on his starting position, and just behind Jamie McKnight there for 5th.
Yeah, definitely. We're just looking out the back of Jacob Knight's car there. Almost said Jacob McKnight, but it's not. It's Jacob Knight in 4th, having a great run for FRA there. But he's now got Jamie McKnight behind him, and we'll see what Jamie can do now. I don't think Jacobs are going to let him walk away with it, though.
No, not at all. He'll keep the pressure on and do everything he can. Craig Jones getting really racy up on Bradley Ratchy there. That's a good little fight. Bradley just shut the door. I'd say make their way now up through turn 4 and into the Moss corner now. So Craig Jones really starting to look aggressive, and that car working very well at the back end of this race.
Yeah, it certainly is, as Bradley Ratu there gets it a bit loose. This is going to give Craig an opportunity. Craig's got a good run here. We'll see if he can capitalise on it as they come up the back straight here.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's a common theme we've seen, especially in the Porsches and now the V8s, where the guys come in a little hot through turn 5A. They're very easy to do on this circuit. It's a blind approach, so you got to get that braking just right. And Brad did a great job, kept it on the line, but it did Constantina that field. So Greg was sitting pretty comfortable. He's looking very good through this final corner and onto the front straight there. But we'll just keep an eye on this and see how he goes through. Michael Talianchich now on screen, still applying that pressure to the back of Brian Borg there. And this battle for the final podium position really starting to heat up now.
Yeah, it certainly is. As we just have a look at the suspension cam here, folks, just seeing the load on the as they take turn 2. But you can see there he's trying to work out where to take Brian here. And we'll have a look as they come down. We might try and switch to the other side so you can really see how loaded this front left suspension gets under brakes as they come through Moss Corner.
Yeah, you can really just see how much these cars do Constantina up through that section. You know, we saw, I think it was lap 3 with Brian and Michael, those two coming together, and Michael coming off a little worse for wear now, but he's got himself an awesome run here. And could this be the move of the night up around the outside into turn 8?
Yeah, he's going to hang it on the outside. We saw that in the Porsches, of course, and he's done it. I didn't think we were going to see that again, but Brian gets a bit of a hip and shoulder there and gets moved out of the way. Oh, more than a hip and shoulder.
Yeah, he got touched up a couple of times there. I think that was also Jacob Knight getting into the back of him. So it'll be interesting to see whether Michael redresses that one. There was a bit of contact. I think it'll be okay, a bit of racing incident there, but Brian's really starting to get boxed around the ears now. Looks like Marlon, Jacob Knight and Jamie McKnight have all gotten through on him.
Yeah, I was going to say, if Michael was going to redress that, it'd be extremely costly for him, so I doubt he will at this point in time. But you can see there as they come back up to speed, Brian Borg absolutely got mobbed there by the crowd. He's down there in 6th position as he has a look on the inside of Marlon McMullen. He's not happy. You can just tell by the body language of that car, as now Bradley Ratu is trying to capitalise.
Yeah, you can't go too wide through that corner there. Marlon McMullen would have had the eyes. They would have been as wide as saucers going through there, seeing where Brian was going. And don't forget, he's thinking about the championship here. Brian just wants to get back up, get up to the pointy end and race. So it's going to be a hard one for Marlon. Where does he want to sit? And you know, Brian now got Bradley Ratty right over him, and Craig Jones getting in on this one as well. So Steve Kirky, man's getting up there and looking pretty good.
Yeah, Craig's been having a really good run, hasn't he? He's up 3 positions from where he started, and he's been making some very assertive moves. And when I say that, they're clean moves. They're just letting him know that he means business. And now he's doing the same for Bradley. We'll see if he tries the inside here. One of his more favourite corners by the looks of it.
Yeah, definitely. If you can get one up the inside there, it does make it hard for the guy on the outside to turn back in on you. Craig's still sitting pretty comfortable. Bradley just runs that car wide, keeps the door shut. It does make it very hard here. Where else we got behind? Thomas Hins on the back of Greg Sharp. This is a good little fight starting to heat up, and that's bringing Kyle Stokes into play here as well.
Yeah, we've got quite a big train there. Haven't we started before? And we've got Kyle Stokes in there, Stephen Varga, Brenton O'Brien. Don't see much of Brenton. He's often flies under the radar, but he gets great results, doesn't he? He generally lets the race come to him, and he works his way through the field patiently. And he's in 14th now, eight positions. That pretty much underlines what we're talking about there.
Yeah, absolutely. Probably a bit of an underrated driver. Or when you say underrated, goes under the radar, as you say, doesn't really get a huge amount of notice, but you do notice him working his way up that order there. So currently 8 positions up, as you mentioned there, sitting in 14th. Doing a pretty good job. He's got Steve Varga just in front of him, and Stephen's no slouch. He obviously led the race once everyone went through their stops, and he's set himself up for a good little battle here. Henry King hanging into this one as well, down in 15th there. So, good group of cars, pretty much from Kyle Stokes back through to Henry King now.
And we'll have a look up front here because Michael Taliancic is starting to pull in on Cooper Webster now. The gap was 7/10 of a second, and oh dear, just turn my phone over because someone starts texting me after 10 p.m, believe it or not. But we'll see what that gap is as they come across the line this time through.
Yeah, Michael doing an awesome job just to hang in touch there. That gap fluctuating sort of between that 0.3 to half a second right now, so pretty close on, and Michael's really set himself up, but going to have to be careful. Doesn't want to take his teammate out in Cooper Webster there. Jamie McKnight still working on the back of Jacob Knight's car, and no love lost there. These guys are still fighting hard and clean, and Marlon McMullen just sort of sitting back, keeping an eye on everything that goes on around him.
Yeah, and at the moment, if you have a look at the top 5, 4 of the top 5 Performance SimSport racing team there. Jacob Knight for FRA, he's a spoiler because he does not want them to finish 1, 2, 3 and 4 here tonight.
Yeah, definitely. And I just saw a little bit of contact there with Greg Sharp, Thomas Hins through turn 2. Thomas very lucky not to end off in the dirt there as well, but a little bit of chatter now starting to break out here. Who's that? Bradley Ratu off in the dirt there at 5.8.
We'll jump back and have a look at this. That could have been the chatter you were talking about. He's got Craig Jones there, so let's have a look as they come through. They'll come up over the hill here, hard braking into Moss Corner, and we'll go to super slow-mo here. Bradley was trying to defend, and he got clipped there by Craig, which has put him hard into the concrete wall there.
Yeah, that'll be disappointing for him tonight. He was looking very good, and I think just trying to go defensive there and sort of moving still in the brakes towards that inside line with Craig right behind him. So not the best run there. I think Craig actually backed right off and tried to redress that situation, but Bradley's got a lot of damage sitting on that car. Yeah,
Craig was definitely trying to redress it, but I think when he saw the amount of damage Bradley had, he let him know. Bradley might have also said on the radio that no point, he wasn't going anywhere. But at the moment, the battle is on for the lead. 0.3 of a second was the gap last time through, and Michael wants to snatch this lead. Michael's led 2 laps of this race, Cooper 17 laps of this race.
Yeah, so it's a good little fight here. Another good one I've just kept an eye on as well. Greg Sharp and Kyle Stokes, 8th and 9th. I think Thomas Hinn still fighting his way back into this battle as well. So a few guys a bit further down still getting on with business, which is nice to see. And who we got here? Marlon on board on the back there of Brian Borg and Jacob Knight. So there's a bit of a change to McKnight and Knight switching positions there for what was that, 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, so Jamie's now up to 3rd, Jacob 4th. Brian, he's made a move on Marlon there, but Marlon wants that position back, and I'm not sure what's happened to Marlon there, whether he's had an off track, but he's dropped quite a ways down. Well, he hasn't really, has he? He's just dropped one position.
Yeah, only the one position, still sitting pretty comfortable. I think, as we say, he'll be playing that long game, but let's duck back just a touch behind these guys. Kyle Stokes, Greg Sharp. This one's really starting to heat up here. Kyle getting it up on the inside rumble strip, and last time by had a big dive through 5B here on Greg, so these two have been pretty well inseparable the majority of this race. Thomas Hinz a little further back, getting back on, where is he now, behind Stephen Varga there. So a few guys starting to work their way for these final positions as we got, 6 laps to go to the finish.
Yeah, it's gone quick, hasn't it?
Yeah, sure has. Always does in these cars, and a minute 17 lap around this place, so they certainly rattle them off very fast.
They certainly do, and we're just riding on board there with Kyle as he come out of Moss Corner. You could just see Greg Sharp getting a better drive to set himself up onto the Mario Andretti straight back there. But Thomas Hinz, as you were saying, he's on the back of Stephen Varga here, and excuse me, never drink cherry Coca-Cola while commentating. Just saying.
No, that's all right. I made sure to polish off a Red Bull before the start of this one, so should be good there. I'll stay away from the cherry cola, unless it's obviously Dr. Pepper, and everyone loves a good Dr. Pepper. So we'll keep an eye on that. Brenton O'Brien still battling with Henry King, and those guys haven't really changed much. Still battling for 12th and 14th. If anything, Brenton's actually gained a couple more spots, up 10 positions now since the start of this race.
Yeah, basically, I had the Dr. Pepper last night, we'll call them the NASCARs. I figured Dr. Pepper was probably a closer match for the NASCARs than Cherry Cola, but maybe I'll try them around them the other way around next time.
Yeah, that or Mountain Dew. You can't go wrong with Mountain Dew, but yep, let's go back up to the sharp end of this race. Oh, just seeing Stephen Varga stick the nose in on Kyle Stokes as well. These guys are not letting this battle go for, what is that, 8th, 9th, 10th and 11th right now. That's awesome little train, and could even see Brenton O'Brien and Henry King get on the back of this as well.
Yeah, I've noticed Henry's paint job hasn't loaded as well, so a bit of trouble there at trading paints by the looks of it. But at the moment, Thomas, the fairway's down there in 11th, and the laps are running out. But I'll tell you what, this battle between Varga and Stokes is really heating up.
Yeah, it certainly is, and him still pestering on the back of Stephen Varga there, so we'll see if he can throw one up the inside, maybe look for a good drive off 5B as they make their way onto the Mario Andretti straight. But all these guys avoiding that inside curve, which really throws these cars up, so trying to maximise that drive and sit in that draft as long as possible.
Yeah, exactly right, and they're all driving extremely neatly at the moment, one could say, hitting their marks but not overcooking it and hitting those. But have a look now, Varga right up. Who was that? That was Sharp and Stokes there, too wide, coming in to the final S's here.
Yeah, we could see another one try and go around the outside there. Kyle Stokes looking very racy, potentially going to throw it up the inside through turn 1. So Greg's going to have to go the wide line here and see if he can just carry that bit extra corner speed into turn 2, which I think he'll be able to do. Both guys keeping it off the line there, but you don't want to be on the outside through 2.
Oh, gutsy move to keep it out there. I was drawing that breath in because I was waiting for him to get run out of room there. Greg gave him room, but now Greg's been pounced on by Varga, who also goes through. Excuse me, then Hinz.
Yeah, Hinz looking pretty racy. Greg will be a bit disappointed there. That's 2 positions in as many corners, so not the best lap for him here, but now he's got Thomas Hinz right up behind him. Thomas probably got a little more pace in that car, if anything, so we'll keep an eye on him, see whether he can push this one around the outside there, but Varga and Stokes trying to edge out a bit of a gap here.
Yeah, and for the fans of Bradley Ratu, we've heard of him, heard from him, and that car's been parked after that incident.
Yeah, disappointing for him. He was having a really good run there. I think as we saw, that issue with Craig Jones there, bit of an end to that one. Stephen Varga with a turn, got into the back of him there. That was that Greg Sharp in the back there? Bit of netcode, and those guys have had a bit of contact. So not the best. I think Greg will try and redress that. Thomas Hin's going around the outside through turn 1 now.
Yeah, just having a look at this, and there was a bit of netcode. There was a bit of a touch-up there, and from Greg on the entry, nothing major, but then they had netcode, and get that, Stephen Varga's out of control, and they decide they're going to go 3 wide and thread that needle side by side.
Yeah, it's a bit of a tough one there. Kind of surprised to see the netcode in that sort of position, but Brett O'Brien also grabbed another spot there, so good for him. Shane Rayner has actually managed to get himself past Henry King as well, and looking on the back of Stephen Varga just in front now.
Yeah, 2 laps to go. This battle up front is still continuing, folks. So I'll take you through the top 10 for the final time here tonight. Cooper Webster, he's leading. Michael Teliancic there in second. These guys inseparable. Jamie McKnight, he's now comfortably in third. Jacob Knight in fourth, is still defending from Marlon McMullen. Then we have Brian Borg and Adam Wyborn going 2 wide into turn 1. Let's see if they can go through turn 2 the same way. They're definitely going to try it, but no, they go single file there. Kyle Stokes sitting in 8th, defending from Thomas Hins in 9th. Greg Sharp, and he rounds out our top 10, but Brenton O'Brien moves up to 11th position now.
Yeah, so sitting in 11th with 11 games, so mover of the night so far, certainly been Brenton O'Brien there, and probably looking to pick another one off as we now go on to the final lap. So still room for a few positions to change place. Looks like our leading 2, Cooper Webster and Michael Teliancic, pretty well done and dusted. I don't think we'll see any positional changes here for these 2. And I mean, they've just run the race of the night, very consistent. Cooper Webster with that early stop really made that work for himself.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, their sponsors, WP Concreting, West End Mazda, will be very happy because they've had a lot of airtime tonight. As you see them, 1-2 finish there as they come across the line. What a finish that was.
Yeah, it certainly was. We've then got Jamie McKnight getting himself home in third, Brian Borg fourth, sixth, behind Jacob Knight and Marlon McMullen. So some really fast finishing cars at the back of this race.
Yeah, and it was a good finish there by Jacob Knight there. He comes home in 4th position. But check that out, PSS, 4 cars in the top 5.
Yeah, very dominant race from those guys, and checking the boxes off. I dare say they will take that team championship based on how these results are going.
Yeah, I'll bring that up and have a look now. They were leading it quite comfortably by 800 points coming into this race, and no doubt that is going to be extending because FRA Motorsport, that is Jacob Knight, he came home 4th. Kyle Stokes, I think, came home in 10th. But remember, there's 2 PSS teams, isn't there? I think the PSS chassis 27, that's Marlon. Or no, that might be Cooper and Jamie. And third would be Marlon. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so I think that's right based on the car numbers from what we've seen in the Enduros so far. So Performance in Sports certainly looking the goods as we turn away from here tonight and they're off to Bathurst tomorrow. So get away from the sprint rounds, obviously final one tonight, and then we jump on board and get sorted for these V8 Enduros. So we might go now and do a quick run through the entire field and let everyone out there still watching know where their drivers finished up tonight.
Yeah, definitely. So Cooper Webster takes the win tonight. Up 3 positions, he led for 24 laps of the 38 laps here. Michael Teliancic home in second. Third, Jamie McKnight, 1, 2 and 3 for PSS. Fourth, Jacob Knight. Fifth, Marlon McMullen. Brian Borg, he comes home in 6th position with Adam Wyborn in 7th. Finishing in 8th tonight was Thomas Hins. And then we had Kyle Stokes in 9th, 10th Greg Sharp. The biggest mover tonight, Brenton O'Brien, up 11 positions to come home in 11th, and rounding out your top 12 is Stephen Varga.
Coming home 13th and up 5 spots was Shane Rayner, with Henry King in 14th. Craig Jones fell a little bit further down and finished in 15th tonight, with David Kidmon behind him in 16th. Mitchell Bales in 17th. Nick Heusler up 9 spots tonight, come home in 18th. Jonathan Ben home in 19th. Jaden Borg in 20th. Shane Evans in 21st, with Daniel Stevens in 22nd. Tony Gaffer got home in 23rd tonight. Then we had... Where were we? Matt Muggleton in 24th. Tyson McAvoy in 25th tonight, with Nathan Tregarthen in 26th. And the non-finishers, unfortunately, tonight we had Bradley Ratu, 27th, Scott O'Keefe, 28th, Scott Clark, 29th, Grant Kane in 30th, and Brett Woods in 31st.
So there you go, folks. That's where your favourite driver has finished tonight. Just wait and see if any of the guys come up into the green room to have a bit of a chat. But looking forward in RRTV this week, our next broadcast will be Monday night for the Monday night trucks. And then it's pretty quiet up until the Friday when the AOSC boys will come back out to play.
Yeah, that'll be good. Obviously, we've got a big weekend of motorsports coming up for anyone in Australia. You know, you've got the Darwin V8 supercars in real life, and my personal favourite, which I am getting set for a full 24 hours of, is the Le Mans 24-hour this weekend. Going to be a very interesting race to see how Alonso and Montoya go. Both of those guys hunting for the Triple Crown.
Yeah, and when's the official iRacing Le Mans coming out? That's later in the year, isn't it?
Yeah, I have a feeling that's a couple of weeks later on. Hopefully we can get a team together and I'll have a run in that. A new Porsche certainly be a lot of fun out there, along with the prototypes.
Yeah, you never know. I might. No, I won't. I can't even drive a Skip Barber. I'm not even going to attempt to drive in that darn thing.
That sounds good. I will see you in the car for race start.
In the Skip Barber?
No, just in the Porsche. We'll do it together.
No, mate. No. That's I'm too old for that sort of shenanigans. But we've got Brian Borg. Speaking of shenanigans, in the 6th position. It'll be an interesting interview to have with Brian to get his take on this race. So we'll bring him up and have a chat. As soon as my mouse behaves itself. There we go. Hi, Brian. Welcome to the RRTV Combox, mate. Bad luck dropping 5 positions from the start to come home in 6th. Did you want to tell the viewers a little bit about your race tonight?
Yeah, man, just a great race, really. Stoked about the pole. Very, very interesting track. It's very exciting. Always, a lot of passes. You race with the right people who know how to race. And, me and Michael touched and all that stuff, but it was racing. It was good, hard racing. So there's nothing to get upset about. I really enjoyed it. So, yeah, it was really trying to stop those teammates, really.
Yeah, it was a bit crazy there for the PSS, wasn't it? 4 cars in the top 5. Jacob Knight being the spoiler to stop them getting 1, 2, 3, and 4, I think. And
yep.
Yeah, but it was a good run there. So basically, with that coming together with Michael, that's pretty much what put you down to 6. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, the first one I lost the lead with the first touch, and then the second one put me down to 6, and then it was just a battle. You can't really, the people who are racing at the front, they know how to race, they know their braking points, so we were all on the limit. So there was, if there was going to be a move, it's going to be a desperate move, and it was going to end in tears. So, just really a good night's racing.
Yeah, definitely. It was really close, really hard racing. But as you said, there was respect shown out there. And of course, V8 supercars at this level of competition, you're going to have the guys coming together, as you said. So well done out there, Brian. I'm going to hand you over now to Daniel and see if he's got any more questions for you.
Yeah, cheers, Bernie.
Yeah, congratulations, Brian. Not probably the positional finish you wanted, but still great, solid result coming home in 6th. Look, I've only got a couple of questions because we saw you having some really awesome battles out there tonight. Give us a bit of a rundown on that final stint after the stops and how you came out with Marlon McMullen. That looked like you guys were going pretty well matched that final stint.
Yeah, well, I think Marlon pitted just the lap before the safety car came out, so he should have had younger tyres than what we had. But yeah, it was, like I said to Bernie, it's top level racing here, and I've raced against Marlon before, and I've raced against Michael and all those guys, and the respect's there. And sometimes you got to, there was a bit of pushing there, a little bit of hitting, but that's all fine. You got to do that to make your mark in this sport.
Yeah, definitely. And I think looking at how the drivers out there go, and obviously you guys battle week in, week out, there's certainly a lot of good respect that builds itself through this. So to yourself, mate, awesome drive. Looking forward to next week. We head to Bathurst for the final round of the championship. We'd like to see you there, and if so, who are you looking to be paired up with?
Yeah, well, I don't know who the pairing up's going to be. It'll probably be Jason Bentz. We usually go all right together, and probably just us two in the car if he gets his rig sorted.
That'll be good, mate. Well, hopefully we'll see you both out there again. If not, we know Mikey Hammond's pretty good around that circuit as well on a V8, so we could see him jump in there potentially with you boys. But mate,
who's Mikey Hammond? Who's that bloke? I'm joking.
But all in all,
No, all good, man. I reckon you would have had a good broadcast tonight. A lot of action. It looked like a very close race.
Yeah, no, look. Yeah, absolutely. Thoroughly entertaining for us, mate. But, we'll let you get out of here. Obviously, awesome job on the pole and a strong finish home in 6th tonight. But before we do, we better get a shout out from all the boys on board the Optiplex car tonight.
Yeah, man. Just I can't say enough about Opticoat, man. They treat me so well. Good sponsors. If you're looking to get your car done, man, seriously, take your car down to them, and you'll be amazed with the result that comes out with it. So just look them up and find the nearest place next to you. And also Vehicle Express, if you need that truck move or whatever, just get in touch with me, man. I'll drive it wherever you want, even if it's in the ocean.
Awesome. All right, thanks, Brian. We'll look forward to seeing you next week. We're going to Bathurst, of course, for the retro round, so best of luck for that one.
Cheers, guys, man. Thanks for the broadcast again.
So in the chat channel there, Jamie's basically saying it's their turn to come up, but they're going to have to wait a bit because I think we'll start at 4th, bring Jacob Knight up for FRA, and then we'll bring up the PSS boys after that. What do you reckon?
Yeah, sounds very good.
So I'll let you start with Jacob.
G'day, Jacob. Welcome to the RRTV commentary box, mate. Congratulations on tonight. Awesome job getting home in 4th.
Yeah, mate, thanks. I'm so happy. Spewing, I just missed out on that podium, but I decided it was the better thing to let Jamie go than rather me try and hold him up and take us both out.
No, hey, look, you guys put on an awesome show yourself and both and Kyle as well. You guys featured a lot in the battles tonight. What have you guys found that sort of ticked with the team? FRA really starting to come a long way, and you guys are really starting to get those runs on the board now.
Yeah, that we are. I think it's starting to help with a lot of setup knowledge now. Every single time we watch the Mark Larkham on the V8 Supercars, Cole picks up things and goes, we can do that to our car and we can do this and do that, and we're just finding more consistency and little bits of tense here and there.
Yeah, it's certainly paying off for you guys, especially with the overall pace that we're seeing out of this car now. So whatever you guys are doing, continue it. It's certainly paying dividends for you. But based on how things went tonight, other than the good battle at the end there with Jamie, how did you find the rest of the night played out, and with things with the early pit stop?
Well, I decided that, obviously everyone else was doing the early pit stop, so I have to stay on that strategy, because if if I sat out, the safety car would have just got swamped in the field. And overall, the car felt really good all night. Did not have a single problem with setup.
Fantastic. And going on to Bathurst for the last Enduro for the season, are we likely to see yourself and Kyle teamed up again for that one? And if so, what are you thinking of doing for the retro livery? Or is that a big reveal to come a bit later on?
Yes, of course, it'll be me and Kyle. About the livery, we're not too sure yet. We were talking about it this afternoon. We're not sure if we're just going to grab one off Trad and paint or whether we're going to try and make one, but it will be retro.
Fantastic. Well, I might hand you over to Bernie, mate. Again, congratulations on 4th position tonight. Well driven, well deserved, and we'll see if Bernie's got any questions for you.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, congratulations, Jacob. That was a great race and hard-fought 4th position there. We were saying in the broadcast you're the spoiler of this PSS domination with you in there, so that was good to see. Also, congratulations, your teammate Kyle Stokes coming home in 8th, so that 2 cars in the top 10. That's a good result.
Yep, of course.
Fantastic.
He was unfortunately having a little bit of trouble with understeer, but yeah, for him to come home in 8th, good result for both of us.
Yeah, he should get a lotto ticket because he was driving the 888 and he come home in 8th, so that's 4 8s. So that's
yeah.
Yeah. But before we let you go, mate, do you want to give a shout out to any sponsors you have out there?
Yeah, mate, I'd like to give a shout out to National Central.
Fantastic. What do they do?
They're a big truck company here in Newcastle, and Kyle himself works there, and they do whether it's towing to heavy salvage or wheel alignments or mechanic, all that jazz.
Fantastic. Well, anyway, Jacob, we better let you go because the PSS boys are banging on that window. Can probably see them out there. They want to come in.
Yeah, Jamie wants to come in, I know that.
Yeah, I'm going to leave him to last. All right,
yeah, I think he deserves that.
All right, mate. I'll catch you later.
Thanks, mate. See you, boys.
So the big question is, do we let all 3 of these boys in together or do we bring them in one at a time, starting at 3rd up to 1st? What do you reckon?
Look, I reckon we get them all in.
Yeah.
Awesome result for the team. I reckon they all need to be in here and have a bit of a celebration for it.
All right, I'll bring them all in, and I'm going to let you start the interview because it's going to be hard to talk over all the cheering here. I nearly brought Jacob back. Okay, Jamie first. There you go.
G'day, Jamie. Welcome to the RRTV commentary box. We're going to get yourself, Cooper, and Mike up here.
That's unacceptable.
Complete lockout for you boys. It's an awesome result for tonight.
PSS 1, 2, 3. That's how we like it, mate. Yeah, it was a great drive from the boys up front. I didn't have their pace, but I had an awesome battle with Marlon and little Jacob Knight and a couple of the other boys. We had a real good time. I'm sorry to Thomas Inns when I turned him. It was just, we were going 10 tenths, mate. You just got to go for every hole, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, you guys all put on a great show. We'll start at the front, Cooper. Mate, the early pit stop, no one would have predicted coming in as early as you did. What was the play behind it? Because it looked like you got yourself in this awesome bit of clear air and the lap times, 5 to 6 tenths a lap quicker than everyone else, and you just gapped them.
Yeah, I came in early just to cover, I got to the front and I didn't feel like I had the pace to stay there. So I just wanted to cover off anyone behind me that was going to pit before me so they couldn't jump me. And as I went out and the tyres started going away, I kind of started regretting it because I was worried about the end. And then the safety car came out and we all bunched back up. So I think it was just lucky in me. Mike and I had a good battle at the end, but I think I got him by 0.05, so it was really close. So it was on the edge of being a bad decision, but it worked out.
I think it was probably the smart move of the night. I mean, it certainly opened up the strategy for everyone else following and sort of kept us guessing to when we were expecting everyone else to come in. So it was an awesome job there. Mike, we'll switch to you quickly, mate. A little bit of an issue or a touch-up there with Brian Borg in the opening laps. We thought it might have hurt you a little bit more because you sort of fell down a bit further, but overall the car seemed to be pretty good and coming home pretty solid second, only half a second there behind Cooper.
Yeah, I think I had a really good plan there. It just didn't quite eventuate when me and Brian Ball came together. I was like Brian's pretty fast, and I was just really committed behind him to try and get a good run up the hill, and I think he just missed the apex or something by a little bit, and I just couldn't back out of it, and it ended up hurting him, putting him sideways, and I just didn't want to take the pass like that, so I backed right out and lost spots. But I had a lot of fuel saving done to jump everyone in the pit, so it got me straight back up there.
Yeah, it looked like from what I could see, Brian maybe just got a little bit on the dirt, maybe went in just a touch too hot. So I think, a bit of a Constantina racing incident. No harm, no foul there. But for yourself to come back as well as you did, mate, awesome effort there. Jamie, up 4 spots, buddy, 3rd place.
I liked it.
The pace is just coming on and on in this car.
Yes, we're getting there, mate. It's a slow boat to China, but we are certainly getting there, and I've got to give my team captain, Mike Talanich, plenty of credit for that. He works with me all the time. He does all the team setups. He works tirelessly for the rest of us, and sometimes it costs him himself, but tonight we both had a good race, and just a bit sorry for Marlon because he'd normally be a lot quicker, but being that we all did scops and we'd done a lot of laps, I think by Monday night Marlon will be right back where he should be, but he hadn't done as many laps as us, so I'm probably a bit lucky to be on the podium in front of him. But as I said, I just had an awesome battle with Jacob and Thomas Hinz earlier, and I don't care if I come 12th in those races. If I have battles like that, it's good fun.
Yeah, well, I think for what we're seeing with you guys and only Marlon being just a touch behind, the pace and the cars are certainly where they need to be right now. But I might hand you 3 over to Bernie. I'm sure he's got a couple of questions on this one, and then we head to Bathurst. So no doubt you boys will all be there and going to take those championships as well.
Thanks, Daniel.
Yeah, before I get into questions, first, congratulations to Marlon here. It's just come through officially that you've taken out the non-endurance drivers championship. So when you see Marlon, congratulate him. He's not in here, of course.
Will do.
But going into the final round officially, Cooper, the gap at the moment is around about 45 points. He has a lead over you in that race. So I guess you and Jamie are pairing up, so you'll be taking it to your teammates?
Yeah, Jamie and I
we'll be taking on the title.
Not if I can help.
Okay, Cooper.
Yeah, Jamie and I will be teaming up for Bathurst, and we'll do our best as we do and keep it clean, which is what works best. And we'll see if we can get it. So yeah, let's go, Jamie.
Done, mate. I'm booked in.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome, that retro round. I'm looking forward to it for sure. But Cooper, congratulations, mate. That was a well-driven race, and Daniel pretty much summed it up. Early pit stop captain and great performance there for sure. Also, Mike, there 1-2 finish. Were you tempted to put the foot down and try and snatch the win, or would that be too cheeky?
I did want to take the win, but I only wanted to do it with a very clean move, being we had especially the podium lockout with Form and Sim Sports. But yeah, I definitely wanted the win because I haven't had one in AOSC yet. It would have been nice to have my maiden win there.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, you weren't far off it, that's for sure. But the 1-2 finish, if you can get that opportunity, it'll look the photo. It'll look great for your sponsors. Putting it up on their wall, that's for sure. But Jamie, mate, well driven. That was an awesome race. Up 4 positions, and working your way through the field. Well done.
Thanks, Bernie. As I said, I really enjoy those sort of races, and it's just come through in the chat too that Cooper and I won the non-teams the non-teams championship. So go, Cooper. We've won that one, buddy.
Yes, Jamie.
Had a great season, and I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys are going to have a big party. That's for sure.
We're going to have a virtual party.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, you almost had a 1, 2, 3, and 4, but FRA with a spoiler in there, and Jacob had a great race, so that was good too. Before we let you go, guys, though, who's going to give a shout out to all your sponsors?
Mikey Ken.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank West End Mazda, WP Concreting. They've had so much support for us over their time, and thank you to you guys as well. Like about the broadcast, I think the numbers dwindle and the race participation, which makes it actually all that much better for us. Yeah, thanks to all the other drivers and race control.
Fantastic. And we just brought Marlon McMullen in from your
Thanks,
team
Marlon.
as well. And yeah, congratulations, Marlon. It's come through officially. You're the winner of the Non-Endurance Drivers' Championship. So well done, mate. Well driven.
Thanks, guys. No, it's been a really long season, and to back it up again, that's awesome. I've really struggled tonight out there, just trying to get to the end, and that's some really good news. I just don't have any pace here, and it was a bit of a dejecting race, honestly, for me.
I didn't think it was too bad. Like 5th position, you're fighting hard to try to move up there. I'm not sure what happened though. You dropped a position at one point and Jamie got through. Was there any contact there, or did you just get past?
Just sort of got the short end of the stick, and Brian sent it from planet Pluto, and he made it stick. So that's nice of him at least. But
I jumped Marlon in the pit stop.
I stuffed up my pit stop,
That's where I passed him. Yeah, we didn't have a toe-to-toe, unfortunately. I just got past him in the pit stop because he must have had a slow one.
And I guess this week's going to be a bit like the KO or OK Corral or whatever the hell they call it, because we've got all 4 of you guys are racing for the team championship next week. So what do you do, Jamie? Are you going to spike all the other 2 drinks tonight at the after party?
What we're going to do is keep our nose clean and see where we're at the end. Marlon and Mike are both really quick at Bathurst, so the chances of beating them there are pretty slim, but anything can happen, and we're just going to do our best and keep it clean, aren't we, Cooper? And who knows at the end.
That's right, Jamie.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations, guys. Awesome drive by PSS, that's for sure. 1, 2, 3 and 5. 4 cars in the top 10, 4 cars in the top 5. Very dominant performance. Well done.
Thanks, Bernie.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Have a good night, mate.
Yep, see ya. It'll take me a bit of time to throw them all out, but I'm getting there. I don't know where I'm putting them. They're there somewhere. Yeah, so great. I put him in the wrong one. Great race tonight, hey?
Yeah, thoroughly entertaining. The boys put on a really good show. 30-odd cars still taken to the field. Saw a couple of incidents here and there, but a lot of it, as the guy said, was just down to hard racing. So you can't fault them for that. And to the viewers out there, no doubt they enjoyed the action as well. So while we come to the end of the sprint rounds and the shorter 40-80s, we've still got that big 650k race still to go at Bathurst next week, and there's still a lot to play for in this championship.
Yeah, it certainly is a heap to play for, and it'll be great to end the championship there at Bathurst. And it's a lot to play for. Very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait to see how that one unfolds. Obviously, we got a bit of an idea based on some of the pairings now, so it's going to put a good one out there for everyone. And Bathurst is a hell of a place to have a grand finale, and I'm really looking forward to see whether Marla can make it 2 seasons in a row, take out that championship. We know he's got the non-endurance side, but if he can wrap up the whole thing again, that's an awesome reward for a job well done for the season.
Yeah, definitely a really good reward there. But we're coming to the end of our night here, folks, and it's time for us to get some Z's. Hope you've enjoyed tonight's double header. First with the Porsche Carrera Cup. If you missed that, you can go over to our YouTube channel and catch the replay. Very entertaining and great race as well. Then, of course, the AOSC finishes our Friday night off. As I said earlier, our next broadcast will be Monday night, and then it'll be a quiet week up until Friday night when we get the final round of the AOSC. So, things are slowly winding down here on RRTV. But, Daniel, thanks, mate, for coming in tonight and calling those races. It's always excellent having you in the combox.
Yeah, certainly no worries at all. Pleasure to be here, and from what we've seen on both championships tonight, great racing all around.
Yeah, and another thanks to Jordan McDonnell. He called the PCCA race with you and did a fantastic job. Second time in the com box, so he's becoming quite experienced at it.
Yeah, bit of a seasoned veteran now. It takes a couple of races to sort of get under your belt. So, no, really starting to get his stride on and do well. But I think to not only Jordan, yourself, for sitting behind the cameras, it's a lot of effort there, especially for those two races. And then to both race winners tonight, we had Michael Healy in the Porsches and Keeper Webster taking out the V8s.
Yeah, fantastic. Great way to end the work week and bring in the weekend, that's for sure. And, of course, folks, you've got in real life, we've got the Le Mans 24-hour as well as the Darwin V8 Supercar Triple Crown, I think they call it. That will keep everyone busy over the weekend, that's for sure. But until we catch up again, folks, have a fantastic weekend. Thanks for your company tonight. Really appreciate it. Without you guys, there's no point in doing these broadcasts. And we look forward to your company again next week. On behalf of Daniel Leet, I'm Bernie Weems. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you later on. Good night.